Hey everyone and welcome to another reviews. We take a look at some of the horror games that have been released late. October probably the most enticing title for me personally was the next entry in the Dark Pictures anthology. In the form of a Little Hope, this game is created by the same makers who made the great game Until Dawn, a heavy rain style horror. Game that was very glitchy in its characters, but resulted in a very engaging game story. And scares that catered to many different genres. The Dark Pictures project would promise a handful of smaller games and stories, each being around 4 to 5 hours instead of the 8 hours Until Dawn. What's more is that those games would be able to be played multiplayer, and this was a huge thing for me when this was announced, because ever since Heavy Rain, this is how I play these types of games. Heavy Rain, Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human are all single player games but have multiplayer protagonists who you take turn in playing, and thus I have always played those games with a friend, and at the beginning we would each choose a handful of our own characters and just base the control along whenever we played as one of our chosen characters. I would highly recommend playing these games. This way I was so happy to find out that this method was then put in a game idea by Supermassive Games, because with these games you can either play with 2 people online but also up to 5 players couch co-op, where one passes the control whenever a new character has its turn. The first of these short games from the Dark Pictures anthology, The Man of a Dam, was released last year and was, to be honest, a bit of a missed chart since it did not even come close to do the awesomeness of Until Dawn, since the game was short as the characters were way less developed, and as a player one felt much less involved with them or did not really care about them. The settings so a bit more original than your average horror game also resulted in sometimes it not being that memorable, with being on the ocean and a ghost ship that you explored where it was pretty much one rusty corridor after the other. It had some very good scares here and there, but the twist on what the actual evil was on the ship was a bit a letdown, and in the end it was a quite forgettable game. But that game had the disadvantage of coming after such a great title like Until Dawn, and I'm sure that after playing Medan many of us had our expectations lowered a bit in anticipation of Little Hope, but I am happy to say that Little Hope delivers a great experience and a really solid engaging story with some interesting twists and turns. The settings is way more traditional than Medan is about an abandoned ghost town and witchcraft, but the irony with horror is that glitch or traditions is sometimes really good. Some horror creators try different settings or types of scares, and so I'm all for innovations and trying out new things. Many of these attempts fail to scare us as much as the traditional things. I think it might be because of how engraved those scary stories are to us. Think about scary stories like this have been told hundreds and hundreds of years, even before we were born, so entire generations have grown up with scary tales like this, and why it's still so effective. Same things with, for example, that glitch type of Asian horror with a pale white girl whose face is covered by long black hair. They have told stories about those types hundreds of years ago, and we still find that scary and effective today. And so even so, the settings of Little Hope is much more common to what we have seen before. It's all of those more effective because of it, and the story built around its original enough to where it stands on its own the story.